Alrighty, welcome again to civic-tech Hacknight number 515. Today we are so excited to have Kien Dang with us. Kien is a software developer working in sports tech by day. By night, he builds civic tech projects like CanadianRecalls.ca, which turns public data into tools people can actually use. He also created a FuelWise.app to help Ontarians save money on gas. This talk will explore the journey of creating CanadianRecalls.ca, a civic tech project that turns raw Health Canada recall data into an accessible, automated tool to help Canadians stay informed and safe. Kien, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I will share my screen here. Everyone can see it okay? Perfect. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Civic Tech Toronto, for having me. So this will be a presentation about the creation of the Canadian Recalls, the creation of it, a little bit of the tech side of it, and the journey on how it came to be. So before we start, I guess a little bit about me. Basically, yeah, I have a biochemistry degree from the University of Waterloo. I'm a self-taught developer in my parents' basement. I've been programming for about 7 years, and full time, I am a software developer at the Score. And recently, I started a part time at Collingwood General Marine Hospital part time as a data solutions principal. So yeah, I'm really thankful for the chance to grow my data skills in the healthcare space. Started about 3 weeks ago. This opportunity actually came in part because of the Civic Tech project, which ended up opening doors I never expected. So yeah, I just wanted to give CGMH team a shout out. All right. So, what is Canadian Recalls? Simply put, it's basically a static site that allows users to see health recalls in a better user interface. It's just a UI wrapper around the official Health Canada Recalls website. And it solved a few problems that I face with the current government's implementation. And so, before I kind of go through the pain points, I'll share it might just be easier for me to share you what the pain points that I saw was. Can you guys see the other incognito tab here? Just fine. Yeah.
Yep, we
Um,
see it.
Perfect. So before we start, can anyone give me the recalls website? Does anyone know off the top of their head what the Canadian Recalls website is by any chance? Where you find all the recall information? Anyone want to take a guess? Uh, Any takers? No? All right. So it's something like recalls dash recules dot canada dot ca. I'm so sorry for my French folks. I might be butchering this. Yeah, I don't remember the domain. So what I usually do is I just Google it. Health Canada Recall. It's usually the first link. Okay, yeah. It's recalls repels.canada.ca. Okay, so yeah, just a thing that I could never remember. I always have to bookmark it. But you see, it's a quite a simple site. But there's a few things that I wanted to look at when I saw this. I noticed that a lot of the data is all bunched together, and it only gives me the past 7 days of the recall. And at a glance, I don't see any categorization that I can kind of filter out in the last 7 days. So I was like kind of confused where this was. And let's just say if I was searching for like cilantro and I hit search, you'll see that it takes some time to search. And there it is. So cilantro, take about 7 seconds or 6 seconds to search. And then all I see is now I see the categories here. So nice. So if I hit reset, uh, it's going to take some time to reset my query. And you'll see all of the categories here. So right away, I noticed that there is a ton of recalls that's being queried here. And it's queried all the way back to 1991. And that's quite a lot of data. And so that kind of gives like a bit of a performance hit, but I'll talk about that a little bit more later. So I'm going to go back and share the slide. Remember here. So let's just review the pain points that I had just demonstrated. Basically, again, it's a plain website, no categorization. So we notice that the search is really slow, and there's a lot of paginated data, which is fine, but you have to click through quite a few things to see the information in the last 7 days. Like you see, like, oh, there's a lot of transport data. I just want to see food, for example. So not really intuitive. The categorization is a bit lackluster on first glance. So when you land on that page, you can't really filter anything right out of the bat. The mobile optimization is pretty poor. It's not the greatest. And like I mentioned, the data set is really, really large. And that's what takes so long to search. And so this is the pain point that I saw. And I was like, hmm, I want to I want to give some feedback. But I started to kind of reverse engineer where this data set comes from. And basically, I found that they have an open sourced API. And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, there's an API that gives me this exact information that the Canadian Recalls website renders. So I was like, this is awesome. You know what? I maybe should try to take out like and try to solve this problem myself instead of asking the government of Canada to do it. So it was pretty straightforward. The reason was like very clear. I felt Canadians deserved a better digital experience. And with my skills in web development, I was determined to make something look nicer, modern, and faster. So I said to myself, all right, challenge accepted. Let's try it. So the vision, like I mentioned, I had to think about what does the recall information actually look like if it was accessible. So the first thing that I thought about is it had to be really fast, like much faster than what we saw. It had to be mobile friendly. About 70% of users on the internet are browsing on their mobile device. I want it to be free forever. And I also wanted to respect the source. So because we have the JSON data, I also wanted to make sure that my website will always reference the original Health Canada source. And lastly, and most importantly, it has to be bilingual. So we live in a bilingual country, and this was really important. I also want to say that this was by far the hardest thing that I had to implement because the JSON data that we get back from Health Canada, they combine both English keys and French keys. So I had to standardize the entire data, clean up the data so that I could make it possible to render both French and English when I had to make a toggle. So this was a huge mapping process that I did in the front end. But after 3 cups of coffee, I managed to do it. So the goal here is again build a modern, fast, and free alternative website, stay within free tier limits, and make it sustainable without funding. So you're gonna see the word free a lot because I'm pretty frugal and I don't want to pay a lot of money for this project. I don't want to pay for hosting. And spoiler alert, I only paid for the domain, which is $17 a year. So all of the hosting is all free. And so I will kind of walk you guys through the engineering strategy that I had thought about. So the first one was hosting. I'm using a Vercel Hobby plan, which is completely free. It's basically going to be a static site generated website. There's going to be edge caching. The build time is going to be once daily. So I'll be well under limits of the Vercel's Hobby plan. The next thing is I'm going to use GitHub Actions. And what this is going to do is I'm going to have a daily cron job from GitHub, and then it'll fetch the latest recall data from the open API. I want to fetch it respectfully, so I only do it once per day, and it's going to be at 2 a.m. in the morning because that's when they say they refresh it. So, being a good citizen, I wanted to build a sustainable solution. The last thing I want is to be hammering the government API every time I visit the website. So I just want to be on the safe side of caution. The builds and deploys will automatically be done because it's going to be through Vercel and through my GitHub action. So essentially, I'll just build it once and everything's automated. The fetching is done automated. I know I can just go to sleep and the website will stay updated. Lastly, I had to figure out how to search. So there is a free search library. That's a JavaScript library, and it's completely free for client-side searching. So that means there's zero API calls when I search. You can search 10,000 recalls in under 50 milliseconds. So that's really, really fast. Um, okay, so the technical decision and trade-offs. So this is basically what I just talked about. And I'm just going to give a quick pause here and I'll open up my website for a quick demo. Where are we here? Okay, so my website, as you know, it's going to be called CanadianRecalls.ca. Very simple. I also own CanadaRecalls.ca. If you don't want to type the whole thing, it goes to the same website. So yeah, right away, you're going to see a homepage. I just want to say initially, this is what it looked like before. And I wasn't really happy with this, even though the UI slightly updated. I felt like I had to make a homepage to make sense for those that are going on this website. So right away, my website says, "Hey, this is Canada Recall Safety Alerts. We scan the Health Canada daily. We deliver the data through a faster, cleaner, and more organized interface." So I have a bunch of these fun little like data numbers. Again, I want to say that I'm only fetching up to 2025 because I'm not really uh, like I don't really care about mushrooms back in 1993. I want to know like what's currently relevant. So I did this so that it becomes very performant and fast. So right away you'll see quick search. So again, I can search something like cilantro, and you'll see right away it has autocomplete, auto suggestions based on Flex Search, completely free. So if I click on this, this actually goes to the Canadian Health Canada's website for this particular product. So it's going to be like that throughout my entire application. This section here, I wanted to see high risk recalls right away. I also have a little description of what these high risks mean. So things that have been recently high risk are shown here, October 9th and one that's on the 23rd of September. There's chicken pot pie. I'm like, okay, why? It's super high risk. I click on it. It's going to go straight to the Canadian government's website to tell me what I should do. So again, at first glance, I see high risk recalls right away. The next thing that I want to talk about are the categories. So I broke the entire recalls data into 5 categories that I thought was relevant to me. If someone has another type of categorization, please let me know. I'm open to changing this. But right away, you see the last 7 days. If I want to see food, I can click food. I can click drugs. If I'm in pharmaceutical, vehicles, and most importantly, baby products. Um, I was actually very surprised that Canada Recalls didn't have a baby products category in their filters. So I had to actually make a giant regex in the front end to filter for keywords such as child, kids, baby, stroller, baby nests, so that I can actually present and categorize it shown here. And again, there's also medical devices if you're in the healthcare. I'm going to scroll down a bit more and you'll see that I have a section for trending recalls. So again, not every recall gets alerted to the news. So for example, if you're in the hospital and there's a high risk recall, things like Atlantis, like this isn't really a danger to public, I would say, if you're not in that industry. What is more impactful are things that affect people like food. So I was wondering what makes it trend online? Like, I want to know when uh, news outlets report these recalls. So that's what trending recalls is. As you can see right away, there are safety risks linked to baby nests, and 6 news outlets had reported this. Um, the secret sauce to this right here is just a perplexity call that runs with my cron job. So it will tell me all the news articles that has trending for the latest recalls recently. So as you know or may not know, pistachios have been kind of been recalled. And then if you click on things like in Saga, for example, this is where the source comes from. And so it kind of gives the user an idea of, hey, like what's really kind of important to public knowledge at this time. The next section is browsing by category. So again, like I mentioned, it's broken down into 5 categories. So for food, you'll see that you can search for food, but I also made it so that you can actually filter specifically for food. So each filter in each category has its own filtering level that's relevant to the product. So if I click on drugs, for example, is it biologic or vaccine? Is it drugs? I can, filter for risk levels, etc. Same with medical devices. Again, baby products, which should be I think is could be a popular one for new parents. Right? You want to see which items that have been recalled. So here it is. Um, we also have vehicles. So as you can see, vehicles have their own categorization and filters. And as you can see, you can actually search for car brands. So let's just say, I'm scrolling down and I'm like, yeah, I wish I had a Porsche. Completely, um, you know, something that I wish I had, a problem that I wish I was looking at. There is 7 recalls on Porsche. Cool. So that's kind of neat. I can actually do multiple cars, Rivian, Provest, something that I'm trying to solve for myself that I noticed the government of Canada didn't have. You can also search by vehicle type here as well. Okay, so going back again, it's a little small section of how it works. So as I was building this, I wanted to be as transparent as possible, making sure that people are informed what this website is about, and then frequently ask questions for SEO. Now, that's pretty much the front page. The next I want to show is the dashboard. So this is where the fun stuff you can see. So basically, when it comes to data, I love visualizing it. So, it tells me in 2025, what are the total active recalls, beverages, the top companies that are, giving Canadians the most grief. So maybe companies that are having quality issues, for example, recent recalls, monthly recall trends. So these are kind of fun data visualizations. For example, if you're shopping for a new car and you want to stay away from the dealership, you can kind of look through the brands to see which ones are having quality control issues. So the data is very objective. A lot of it comes from the government of Canada. And so, yeah, it just shows a bunch of like cool things here. Now, if I go back, you may notice this little issue here. Um, if I click on details, I kind of want to show this. I know that I said the bilingual data was probably the most difficult part of this project. I actually lied. Um, the most difficult part of this project was getting Health Canada to reply back to my feedback and inquiries about their failing infrastructure. So basically, if I had shown you this project 3 months ago, this whole thing would be red. And this API health status is basically a website that every time I hit the Health Canada's API, it will tell me whether or not it's stable or the data has degraded. So I have had a long line of degraded failures and the issues that have happened because the server either failed or was not responsive. So unfortunately, that kind of put a huge dent in my plans of this project. I have emailed them for months. So it took I've emailed them like I don't know, I think it took like 2 months of emailing. I've messaged folks on LinkedIn. I've sent people emails and Health Canada. No one had replied. And I was like, yeah, maybe to their credit, it's the summertime and they're probably on vacation. But, I was like, you know what? I'm going to build this and then take a screenshot of this page and then just start tweeting Health Canada, letting them know that, hey, your API is down. I'd love it if I can get a response to see if anyone's looking at it. And so I did this for about 4 days. And then I thought about building a Python bot to just take a screenshot of the failing degraded infrastructure and then just constantly uh, tag Health Canada. But I figured that wasn't really a good idea if you want to get the government to help you out resolve this issue. So that was something that I was doing. And then eventually I had found the person who owns the Open Health API on their end. And they finally got back to me and they said that, yeah, their inbox was kind of broken. So they rerouted my message and they had just seen it. So it took about 2 months. And during that time, I had documented all of the intermittent issues. kind of explained my approach and my mitigation strategies to kind of avoid like uh, kind of hammering the API. So I had a bunch of things that I wrote here. It's very detailed. You can take a look at it if you want to read it. But yeah, I was able to reach someone mid-September. So you'll see this beautiful streak of green. Some days are not so great, and I guess I'll probably be pinging the folks there again. What's kind of cool is that they told me that they use this website, this specific health status to even check up on their health too. So that was nice that I was able to kind of give something for them to kind of use to check out on their health status of their server there. So I'm gonna hop back to the slides. And basically, I'll wrap it up with lessons and future learnings. So, the first one is that constraints drive innovation. So, because I was being really cheap, the free tier limited me to kind of, it actually forced me to be a bit creative with the architecture. And number two is that simple could be quite powerful. There's no complex backend needed. I just focused on what the user sees. It's a completely static app. It's all, done with Next.js and React. And yeah, and I guess some closing statements. I'd say public data should be publicly accessible. I'm sure Civic Tech Toronto knows this really well. This isn't about replacing government services. It's about making critical health information accessible. And when we combine public data with modern engineering, everyone wins. And I'd like to say thank you so much, everyone, for listening to my talk. And I'd like to open up the floor for any questions.
Thank you so much, Kien. That's a very nice talk. Awesome websites. We're going to move on to questions. We're waiting for any folks online to say if they have questions. Does anybody in the room have questions? Yes.
Hi, great job on this. This is very cool. I was wondering if there were any heuristics you had to apply besides the regex you mentioned for like picking out the child or baby products. Was there any other data that you did not, like categorization data specifically, that you did not get from the data set?
Good question. It's purely regex. I try to get as much as I can, like stroller, anything related to child, baby. Um, I had definitely used like the help of ChatGPT, like making sure that I cover as much as I can. So yeah, I think hopefully I covered most of it. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
I was wondering about, were there any other categories that you needed to do this for, or any other fields that didn't
Oh,
filled in?
the other fields, no, only baby products. I noticed that there was no category from the Health Canada's website.
I see. Thanks.
Hey, thank you for the talk. Great talk. Great work. I know you've built this thing like really, really lean and really simple, and in a way that you've clearly been able to like build on your own and operate. Have you had any thoughts about how to maintain this into the long term as like the public resource and useful tool that it is, potentially bringing in other people?
Yeah, great question. So I initially had plans to open source this, um, but my code right now is like all spaghetti and it's not open source ready. But if there's like general interest in those that want to contribute, I'd love to bring people on. Right now, it's all fully automated. It's very low maintenance, but if folks want to contribute to it, I'd love to open it and invite them into the project for sure.
All right. There's a question online, so maybe we'll let that question, then we'll move back to the in-person.
Yep, Miriam, go ahead.
I know this presentation was very, very well done, especially considering I was also recently just on Canada's public health website. Even as a province, I find that like the updates, the live updates are very like muddy. But my question had more, it does relate to the previous question at all. So like, it kind of already was answered, but I was wondering if this was more of an independent project or something you're even looking to, like bring on maybe like volunteers to work on UX. Like, what is it looking like right now?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so I guess right now I have to find like a bit of balance. Like I've left this project kind of in the back burner for now. Um, but yeah, if there's like genuine interest, like feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to bring people on board if they want to work on this. And again, I really want to open source this so that folks can contribute and make it better. Um, I'm just kind of like shy about showing my spaghetti codec. It's not open source ready. Like I'm sure like this was definitely a project that I kind of hacked together over the weekend and then I slowly added to it over like a course of a week. Like I just wanted to get something up and running and then like it was just a challenge that I wanted to do and set to for myself. But yeah, if there's genuine interest, please reach out to me.
Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation. I'm curious about like how you chose to work on this project. Like, is there something about recalls that is a personal interest of yours, or were you just looking for a website that had good data to sort of like build a better UI around?
Yeah, great question. It kind of started with like, as a kid, my parents always had CB24 running in the background. And I'd always remember like recall information, for like lettuce or any kind of product that would come out. And then, as I get older, I don't watch cable anymore. And so I was like, maybe like there are recalls that I don't notice. And I sometimes scroll through the news and it's like, oh yeah, pistachio recalls or salmonella for some type of product. And I'm like, maybe I should check up on like the healthcare like often. So I went to go find it myself. And yeah, that's when I noticed that the UI wasn't that great. And I noticed like, like which ones make the news. So I just wanted to solve that problem myself and decided to go from there. And yeah, so now this website, I just kind of just hop on every now and then to make sure that I'm not uh, getting salmonella from something.
Hi, I was wondering, do you know where the data from the Open API comes from in general? Is it something that's like some health inspector just reports to a central like database, or if you've ever even looked into this?
I have no idea. I don't even know how they're inputted. Like, there's a lot of detail that goes into the actual products. Like, I noticed that in the Health Canada's website, they have like images and product codes. So, yeah, I mean, if somebody knows, please let me know. I'd love to know the process. Maybe that, yeah, that would be something really interesting to know about.
Hi. Well, first, thank you for the French version of the website. I'm sure it was a lot of efforts, but a lot of us appreciate. Um, Question about the AI feature, like how do you, how does it work? Like if you can just explain more a little bit on the technical side to tie the trending articles and how you tie it to the data.
Yeah, for sure. So the flow basically is when I build the cron job and it hits the healthcare API, I have my own personal Perplexity API token that I use, and I connect that to one of like a GitHub action. And basically, I would prompt saying, hey, I have this data of APIs that just came in recently in the last day. Can you please scourge the internet for trending articles, if any? And if there is, then push it into the trendings array. And then again, because it's statically built, the array is then basically shown in the React UI. So it's just as simple as taking your API token from any kind of LLM, giving it like a body structure of a prompt that you want, and then you tell it to give it a specific JSON object that you want back.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so first I just want to say I really liked the design of your website a lot, and I thought it looks really intuitive and aesthetically pleasing. I guess my question is, I'm curious, you said this project is on the back burner for you, but if you were to start it up again, what are some things, I guess, on the roadmap for you? And specifically, I also ask because as a potential user of this website, I'm curious, are you thinking about doing anything regarding like tracking specific recalls and like letting people know about, let's say you're interested in when the pistachio recalls over things like more personalized things like that?
Yeah, great question. So before I had picked up a second job at CGMH, I had things in the roadmap such as the email alerts. So one thing that I really wanted to improve was the emailing system for notifications. I'm not sure if you've had tried the email subscription from Health Canada. It's very basic text-based. I actually wanted to improve that by bringing the same UX experience to the email formatting. Right now, I have an email button that says subscribe to email alerts, but just due to the Health Canada survey API issues, like I haven't been able to reliably move forward with that. I want to see that API backend stable enough so that I can provide, timely updates or timely email push notifications. So the email notification is one big one. I was thinking about using other free services that they offer. There's a few free ones like Resend that I was inquiring about. And then the next one was this is just out of curiosity. I kind of want to build a native app just because, if you download it, I can then take advantage of the push notification from your actual phone. So that was something that I was thinking about in the future. And yeah, I hope that answers your question. There was a few that I wanted to improve on. Oh, and there was one last one. There's also a transport recall API that I haven't utilized properly, and that it's a lot more comprehensive in terms of what is being recalled at like the transportation. I think it's a completely separate API, but that's also free. That I was planning to kind of merge in and complete the recall stuff. I hope that answered your question.
All right. Do you want to host a breakout group later? If you can.
Is it Tom or?
I'm just offering the option to. Would you want for more questions to host a breakout group with the attendees?
Oh, yeah, sure, I could do that. I don't mind.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for your presentation and for answering the questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it.